Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Mattatuck Museum. I'm Bob Burns, the Executive Director, and I want to thank you all for joining us here tonight. We're so honored to host the city's kickoff of America 250 and are grateful to Mayor Panerewski and his amazing staff for organizing tonight's festivities for you. Without further ado, I want to introduce Ilianis Olan, a senior at Wilby High School, who will perform our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
That was just beautiful. Thank you, Ilianis. It is my great pleasure now to introduce the 47th Mayor of the City of Waterbury, the Honorable Paul K. Panerewski, Jr.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to see you all here tonight. I'd like to thank you for all for joining us as we kick off this celebration of the 250th anniversary of the founding of our nation. This event tonight marks the beginning of a series of celebrations leading up to July 4th as we reflect on our country's history, on its progress, and on its future. America was founded on the belief that regardless of where someone was born, their economic background, or the faith they practice, if any, every individual is entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's been a lot more aspirational than it has been reality, but we continue to work towards those goals. With that spirit in mind, it's fitting that we begin this celebration with portraits that capture different moments and people throughout our shared American story. While these portraits represent individuals, they also reflect the evolution of our nation, the challenges we have faced, and the progress we've made, and the lessons we must continue to learn from our history. It's important that we recognize not only the achievements and triumphs of our past, but also acknowledge the mistakes we made so we can continue striving towards a more perfect future. I'd like to close by thanking Bob Burns and the entire staff at the Mattatuck Museum, all the members of the 250th Committee for their hard work in organizing tonight's event and the many celebrations that are going to follow. And I'd like to highlight just two of the upcoming events. On Friday, July 3rd, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Hamilton Park, we're going to have an event where family and friends are invited to enjoy an afternoon filled with music, lawn games, arts, crafts, and a lot more. And on Saturday, July 4th at 9 p.m. is going to be our 4th of July fireworks show, and the rain date will be July 5th. So thank you all again for being here this evening. I'm sure we'll see many of you again as we continue to celebrate together leading up to the 4th of July, and I hope you all have a terrific evening. Thank you.
Tonight is a double celebration for the Mattatuck Museum. In addition to our America 250 celebration, we are opening a very special exhibition, About Face, 250 Years of American Portraits. Featuring portraits from 250 years of American life, this exhibition explores American history through images and experiences of diverse Americans. And we are joined tonight by three of the contemporary artists featured in this exhibition: Bolawatafe Oyediran, Marina Bilak, and Danielle Mailer. We hope that after these remarks and this presentation that you will all make your way upstairs to the second floor to see the exhibition. There are staff and docents in both the galleries upstairs and our history gallery to answer any of your questions. And now it is my pleasure to introduce my friend and our superintendent of schools, Dr. Darren Schwartz.
I was pumped for the friend comment. Thank you, Mr. Burns. I'm Darren Schwartz. I'm the superintendent of Waterbury Public Schools. There's some of our greatest students right here. Let's get a round of applause for the students coming out on a Friday night to celebrate with us. We have some of the best students, I would argue, in the state and even the country. And as I reflect back on this 250th anniversary of this great country, I can't help to think, as Mayor Penderuski said, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. One endeavor among them all is more important. It's education. And I'm not just saying that because I'm the superintendent. I really believe that. Education is the pathway for life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Education is the pathway for equity. It doesn't matter your zip code. It doesn't matter who your parents are, where you come from, what language you speak. Education in this country is a promise for you to pursue that happiness, that life, and that liberty that you all deserve. And we continue to do that here in the Waterbury Public Schools, and we will continue doing that for the years to come. I have the pleasure of serving as a superintendent. We have over 3,000 staff that work with me to do that work every single day. And we really believe that education is a public service endeavor. We are public servants to not just the city of Waterbury, but to America. And I can't be more proud tonight to see our students celebrating with us. So congratulations to Bob Burns for hosting this event and putting a wonderful, and the rain is holding off, so thank you for that. And thank you to the mayor's office for putting this on. Enjoy the night. Thank you, everybody. Oh. There we go. A little rev it up for, we're going to rev it up for the education liaison, Mr. Bob Haxey.
Good evening, everyone. I would be remiss if I didn't give a quick history lesson on the Declaration of Independence. Very, very brief before the kids come up to see they're getting ready. In the summer of 1776, Connecticut quickly became part of America's historic break from Great Britain. The Declaration of Independence arrived in Connecticut from Philadelphia in mid-July and was soon shared through newspapers and public readings. The first Connecticut printing appeared on July 12, 1776 in the Connecticut Gazette in New London. Just days later, it was published in Hartford on July 15th in the Connecticut Current, and then in New Haven on July 17th in the Connecticut Journal. As these newspapers circulated public readings on town greens, brought the Declaration's words to life across the state. And now, in that same spirit, here at the Mattituck Museum next to the Waterbury City Green, students from Wilby Career Academy and WAMS will present the Declaration of Independence in a live reading as it was done 250 years ago.
The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for the people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume the powers of the earth, the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's gods entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind, requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they have endowed by their Creator for certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, driving their powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organization, its powers in such form, as them shall see most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dedicate that governments long established should not be the makings of mankind, and more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the form to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and absolute demolishes, it is their right, it's their duty, to throw them off such government, and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries, usurpations, and having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world.
He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish in the right of representation in the legislature, a right insurmountable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records, and for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time, after such dissolutions, to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise. The state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasions from without and convulsions within.
He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states, for that purpose, obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislators. He has affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. He has combined with our subjects to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, given his assent to their actions of pretended legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial, from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world.
For imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing there is an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments, for suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us.
He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny, already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages and totally unworthy the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens, taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers. The merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. In every state of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people.
Nor have we been wanting in our attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of our attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We've reminded them of the circumstances of our emigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and of consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war and peace friends.
We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be free and independent states, and that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may have right to. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Janiyah Johnson, a senior at Wilby High School, Mary Luz Ramos Hernandez, a senior at Wilby High School, Milan Renee Tumba, a senior at Wilby High School, Samora Fenton, a senior at the Career Academy, Rocco Zenik, a senior at the Career Academy, Marcel Boteng, junior at the Career Academy, Camila Reyes, a junior at WAMS, and Savannah Markey, a freshman at, a sophomore at WAMS. Another round of applause for our. I would just like to mention and thank Representatives Ron Napoli Jr. and Geraldo Reyes Jr. for joining us here. They're here in the crowd somewhere tonight. Thank you. And finally, out in front of the building is the oldest fife and drum corps in the United States with continuous membership since it was organized in 1767. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mattatuck Drum Band. Oh wait, they're coming here. They're right here, turn around.
Unit in the country, going back to 1767. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we're gonna play a few songs tonight for you, and they're kind of traditional songs that you probably recognize as we go along. Thanks. It's all good. Battle hymn.
Thank you, Manatuck Drum Band. Spectacular. Wonderful. So, I tried to keep the rain off as long as I could, but there's blue sky again. Please go to the second floor and join us for the exhibition. Thank you all for being here. The vendors are, I think, going to pack up because they're a little bit nervous, but there is still more cakes and cookies over here. Happy America 250, everyone. Oh, Cindy Tolosa from the Connecticut Humanities here, who's in charge of 250 all the way across Connecticut, is with us here today. So I think she has some candy bars back there for you to take with you. I also want to thank Shakespeareans for these wonderful cutouts that they've loaned to us tonight, and all of our community members who joined us here tonight. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.